Well, good morning, but I have to correct one thing. I don't like to do that. I'm not a doctor, but with politicians, you always have to be careful. So I better state that clearly from the beginning. Yeah, Mrs. Czerny, Mr. Filzmeier, ladies and gentlemen, changing education patterns, prepare for the digital age. When you invited me to speak to that topic, one picture came to my mind. The writer Franz Kafka tells us about a man who sits in front of a door all his life long. He doesn't dare to go through that door because there is a guardian standing next to it. And shortly before the man dies, the guard comes to him and says, "I'm locking this door now because it was meant only for you." The man had been free to stand up and walk through that door, to see what is behind, to use his freedom, but he lacked the courage. When I look at entering into the digital era, when I look in politics and sometimes in parts of the society, I think we lack the courage and the ambition to walk through the door and embrace the digital area, although we urgently need to. The aim of the conference, I know, is shape the future, but let me spend 2 minutes on where we come from, what our legacies are, and why sometimes we need so much time, we move so slowly. So far, there have been 2 huge debates that have shaped our educational system. First, in the 19th century, Alexander von Humboldt's ideal of a holistic education for all challenged the elite system we had in classical education. It was the first attempt to break through the social barriers in society. However, until today, the results fall short of the ambitions. For too many, it still takes too many generations to move up into the so-called middle class. The second upheaval arose when the advent of the industrial era, shifting the focus away from the humanistic approach to efficiency aspects. Less development of individual potential for all, but more employability. And now, we have to shape the third transformation. At a panel discussion not long ago, a founder from the digital startup scene explained what his preferred job applicants were: philosophers. According to him, they had the ability to virtually deconstruct systems and reassemble them in a different way. In one word, creativity. So today, the conflict spans between the still predominant teaching in form of instruction as a heritage from the industrial era and the trial and error approach of the digital age. Whereas in the past, education was about teaching people for an optimized mass production, today, in a digital world, we need creativity, innovation, and experimental culture. And we heard that in the previous speech. In a world of unlimited access to information, it is about giving people a reliable compass and the ability to navigate safely. Learning success today is not defined by reproducing knowledge, but how we expand our knowledge and apply it to novel situations. So one thing is clear, we need nothing less than a skill shift. We have to change educational patterns. Another aspect, roughly 80% of executives believe that the data literacy will be as important in the future as the ability to use a computer. Employees and workers also think that data literacy is very important. Almost 60% believe that data literacy can increase their job security. But, and here's the thing, only 7% think that they have good data skills. There's a huge discrepancy here. We have to take considerable action to combat this. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves faced with an even widening skills gap. The results of the digital barometer published by the Süddeutsche Zeitung and the Bavarian Research Institute for Digital Transformation are clear. Men, young people, people with higher level of formal education, and those with a higher income have more digital literacy, higher levels of digital literacy compared to women, older people, less well-educated people, and those from low-income background. I think this is not acceptable. This poses a risk to personal life path, to life chances. And it's a risk for us all, our economy, our competitiveness, and our prosperity. Future skills make all the difference to personal success, corporate success, and what's more, to where our country might stand in a few years. I'm therefore delighted that education is the first topic on today's program here. It is the education that builds the bridge for us to enter the world of tomorrow. So, what do we have to do? The world is not simple. The technological transformation is gathering speed. I would like to quote Judith Wiese, member of the managing board of Siemens, who described the situation like this. Today, professional careers last up to 50 years. The half-life of knowledge in the technology sector is around 5 to 10 years. So when my children start working, they will have to reinvent themselves every 10 years. We heard that already this morning. To counter this, we need skills that reach beyond the boundaries of specific disciplines and technologies. We need 21st century skills, which include the often cited 4 Cs: critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration. And it goes without saying that institutions and disciplines are still important. I would never have read Kafka if I hadn't read it at school. Mathematics and logical thinking are essential. However, lifelong learning puts the spotlight on the individual and their personal biography. And we just learned how much we can use the new technologies to help to go through that way. So good education means more than just good career prospects. It means helping to shape our society, being socially and culturally active, and being innovative. Good education gives people the tools to make their own decisions in life, to be pilots of their life. And these people, creative and ready for change, well-trained by individual tools supporting them, they are driving transformation forward. They work for our society. So, how can we keep up with this pace that is happening all around us? And one key point is digital learning. I mean, we're still we're still working, we're still fighting the basic needs for that. Before the pandemic, German school pupils were only just above the OECD average in terms of digital skills. We cannot allow ourselves to be satisfied with this. The pandemic made it clearly obvious how urgently we need to catch up. Many teachers and lecturers, they have shown through the crisis that they can switch to remote learning overnight. Schools finally started to use online platforms. But let me put it this way, there is room for improvement. For the next generations of teachers, digital learning and using the right tools must be part of their program from the very beginning, plain and simple. Not everyone knows where to start with adaptive and directed independent learning, with peer learning or inverted classrooms, but they are the future. Reality rules. Education has to keep up. To do so, we need to exploit the vast potential of digital education. Only by doing this, we can ensure that Germany remains or regains its reputation as a leading nation for education. So, a few examples. EdTech, we'll talk about that in a minute. Germany is the bottom third international for educational technology. So let us finally make use of the vibrant startup scene in this country. We have to overcome the mental and ideological hurdles and the regulatory issues that hinder us. To schools, vocational colleges, and higher education institutions, they should not see EdTech as competitors. Teachers will always be important, but as supporters with innovative solutions. And EdTech providers should not shy away from bureaucracy or schools maintaining authorities, from higher education administration or teaching syllabus. Stay bold. And if you hear being accused of commercializing education, just remember school books are also printed by private companies. So I'm very pleased to see 2 edtech companies represented on the panel today. Second, of course, we need science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, short STEM education, and makerspaces. They are taught in schools and outside the classroom. We also have laboratories for school pupils at research centers, coding courses, and outdoor initiatives. But we need more non-school initiatives and becoming more closely linked with schools and vice versa. Trial and error, fostering curiosity, help to make our pupils more resilient, better prepared for a complex new world. We need more maker spaces in schools. And thirdly, data spaces. We need a secure, well-connected data space for education, and we are building this now. Innovative key players will be able to operate across institutions, and that includes us as the ministry. We want to promote opportunities. So, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't just a single switch that we can flip. We will not transform our country overnight, but we have to make a start. Finally, strengthen core skills for the digital world. Modernize our education system. Enter the competition for the world's best education. Let us walk through that door. Thank you very much.